Hey guys, what's up? I'm just getting off work here, and I was thinking about this video all day in my head, so I'm gonna see where this goes, but hopefully I can explain myself pretty well here while I drive on my way home. I pretty much memorized the way to get home anyways, so it shouldn't be that bad. Hold on. Hopefully that looks flattering. So yeah, I was thinking about making a video, but I just remained in the moment and just did my work today, and got through the day so far. Just heading home. And one topic I was thinking about earlier was that the topic of a cult, or that's a very buzzword, cult. But it's really the root word of culture. So culture is abundant. It's proliferate. I don't know how to say that word in this context, but it's very abundant in today's society, and it's actually a good thing, believe it or not, because what a cult or culture is just you are subscribing to a group-wide accepted system of beliefs. So it's pretty simple and straightforward if you really look at it like that. And it's actually a cohesive element that keeps a group of people together. So it's nothing necessarily bad. It's nothing necessarily good. It's just part of life, because no one lives in a bubble. So, for example, if you are working at a football stadium, the people who work there that you are surrounded with day in and day out, if you work there full time, are going to be people who like football, probably, who talk about football teams and the players, and they're gonna expect that everyone working there, to a certain degree, is gonna be open to receiving information about football or dispelling information about football. Like, it's a football stadium. Football is a big part of essentially the cult or the culture there. So I just thought that was my exit for a second, but it's actually up here. So anyways, that's an example, because like, if you work there, you're gonna involve yourself around the cult of football, and football is a big cult in America. Football meaning you throw the ball, the pigskin, throw the old pigskin in the backyard with dad or whatever. Like, that's the traditional way of describing the sport in America. So yeah, that's pretty much working at a football stadium. It's a cult, it's a culture, and just like that, even if you're barely into it, you're gonna be into it to some extent if you work there. And that's how a cult or culture works. So yes, culture or a cult typically has a leader, or leadership, or a hierarchy structure, and that's just part of society and part of life. There's always going to be that that cohesive element. Now, if we were living and we didn't have to worry about this whole man-made world out here, like all these buildings and roads and rules and regulations and laws and stuff, then we would be able to be more, have a tribal mentality where as long as you're contributing to the tribe and doing your part, there may be some rituals that cohesively keep the group together, but for the most part, you're able to develop your own mentality on life. It's acceptable to do so. It's not a problematic thing if you kind of are, thinking for yourself for most of the time and doing what you want to do most of the time. And that's if we didn't have to deal with jobs and money and all this kind of like stuff that we deal with today. And not to say that all that stuff is bad either, necessarily. It's not necessarily better either, though. You gotta, and that's why I encourage people to think for themselves. But regardless of that, in today's day and age, what are some of the things that we need to do? Well, what is necessary? For life in today's modern society, we must work. We must essentially be in a form of a cult, because the work culture, is at least something you have to be a part of. Even if you have your own company, you are developing, you're basically leading a culture at that point. And you're at the top of the pyramid, and you have to essentially create a system that works for the people who cascade down the levels or the tiers, and you have to construct that, or at least magnetically pull everything kind of together, pull the right people, the right minds together to build that. So that's to say, even if you're a CEO, you're going to be building a strong culture that's going to have to survive in the world, and that's okay. It's called adapting. We have to be able to adapt to modern society. Now, is there a problem? Yes, there is a problem with this whole way of the whole culture of the world these days. And what is that problem? Well, that problem is that pretty much anyone, whether their intention is good or bad, can make a culture. So even if their intention is bad, they can do that, and they can hide their put their persona out here very easily, and click or edit themselves on videos or whatever it is, and give off a certain illusion as to who they truly are. So there are telltale signs of how someone truly is that they can't belie, they can't betray those essentially those telltale signs. So yeah, be wary. Are you in a useful cult or are you not? And I'm telling you, if you're into having a phone, if you have Samsung, if you have Apple, people will be cultured about that. They'll be like, oh, well, Apple sucks. Oh, Samsung sucks. These are false options given to us. So, I mean, you do the math. These are both cultures. There's someone at the top who's running these pyramid schemes, and they're definitely schemes, that's for sure. Now, is it useful to have a phone and be a part of that? Yes, it for sure is, but you have to choose which one's better for you. It's not actually really up to debate as to whether you need a phone or not in this modern day and age, in this modern society. Pretty much everyone does, and that's because of the culture of society, the cult of society. We pretty much put science, modern age science, on this pedestal of this is what we should base everything off of, when science hasn't even caught up to the core of what everything is. It hasn't even come close. So we're basically following a system that is aeons behind what is actually going on. Like, if you know about what I'm saying, then you probably know, for instance, that there's a higher power here. There's some kind of higher force holding everything together beyond energy, beyond the mind, beyond the body, and that's just self-evident. And people will try to say, because I'm saying that's a culture that I'm creating by saying that. They're gonna say, like, well, oh, you're they'll say things like, you're a religious believer, and like, yeah, sure, like, call me that, but like, I'm not blindly believing this. I don't need to subscribe to this belief. It is evident to me based on my own perceptions. And you have other people who want to keep the false societal culture of, like, following modern age science as the sort of, like, paver of the pathway of modern society's culture as that. And they're gonna defend brainwashing you into not free thinking, into listening to their science that's behind what's really reality, what's really taking place here. And they're gonna actively try and convince essentially people who are less aware to succumb to their system, to join their cult, when really, in essence, in the core of it all, it's not a culture, it's not a cult at all. It's literally what is real. You either know what is real, or you don't. And either if you know it, then there is no culture for that. That's literally just freedom. It's limitlessness. So obviously, if you understand and overstand what I'm saying here, then you know that you should stay a free thinker. And if what I'm saying is not making sense, or it's causing confliction in you, then you should look within yourself and try to figure out what these belief systems and cultures that you are locked into are. But you can break yourself free if you put in the energy, if you put forth the willpower, if you recognize what's going on, and then you can choose and pick and choose what cultures you will participate in, that you will assist, that you will aid, that you will align yourself with. And then you can go beyond all that to where you don't even have to think about that stuff. You can just literally be you at all times, and you'll naturally just kind of flow into the river, if you will. You'll flow into the right spot. Like, water always takes the shape of its container. So yeah, that's kind of a cryptic way to end this message, so to speak, but the message never is over. It's a continuous thing. So basically, this will evolve on itself, and it will move into something new. It's like a river. It bends, it twists, it turns, and it rolls over itself. And like, yeah, just to wrap it kind of here, if I can, is what I'm gonna do is just say, be yourself, know thyself, like in the movie The Matrix, like the ancient Greek philosopher said. And once you know yourself, know thyself, then you'll recognize the patterns, and you'll recognize the cults and cultures, and you'll recognize what isn't a cult or a culture, and what is really just, it's there. It's not created. It's not a created system of. It's not a prison for your mind, essentially. That's what a cult pretty much is. If it's ruling over you, that's what it is. So they're all around us. They're always happening. There's Home Depot, Walmart. All these things are cults. There's AT&T, Verizon. You have Verizon. You have Cricket. But basically, boom. are you seeking to let even that go and to see what's truly there beyond you? So that's pretty much it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope it gave you good food for thought. And yeah, it kind of was like not fully my intention to make this video directly on this topic, but it does have to do with a future video I potentially plan on making that will go nicely with this if I make that video. So I'm glad I made it, and like I said, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it, and hope you're enjoying your day or night, whatever you are doing, and wherever you are when you see this, and if you rewatch it. I'm grateful to you all for being here. May the chi be with you. Peace in and peace out. Have a good journey.